Welcome back to the old hockey show. Welcome back, everyone. I, of course, am always your host, Owen, and today we're going to be talking about some of the questionable teams going into this upcoming season. Now, questionable in your mind might be like negative, but no, I just mean some teams to look at, just some teams that are like interesting before this upcoming season. Let's talk about the Golden Knights to start. The Golden Knights missed the playoffs for the first time in their history last season, but they were bombarded by injuries. They traded away one of their, I don't want to say top talents, but one of their talents in Alex Tuch away. And they want to bring in Jack Eichel, of course, but he couldn't play till like closer to the end of the season. And Mark Stone was injured for the better half of the season, or just about better half of the season. So the Knights were just bombarded by injuries, and they just couldn't. I mean, what are you going to do when your team can't operate without your top player? I mean, any team's going to have tough time playing. And they didn't miss the playoffs by a lot. They were barely outside. I think they were like the team right outside of getting a wild card spot. So they just kind of, I don't want to say unlucky, but they still did pretty good without their top players. Now they're going to be able to play the full season, well, hopefully, of course, without injury, with Eichel and Mark Stone. So the question going into this year, can they recover? Or is Jack Eichel a curse? He's not. But I just want to see that. Just a good question. It's like, where is this team going to go this upcoming season? Are they going to be able to bounce back from these injuries last year, or is this really the start of the downfall of the kingdom? Of course, Robin Lehner is going to be out the whole season. I think it was said that Brossoit was going to be Thompson, and I saw it was another name that wasn't Brossoit, and I was like, what? That are going to be the goaltenders, so it'll be interesting to see where the Knights go. If Thompson can play his 10-5 record like he did with a healthy Golden Knights team, I think they could probably get to the playoffs. Are they going to be a top team? Personally, I don't think so, but I think they can get into a playoff, maybe like a third-place spot. I mean, I say that because I'm unsure because of what the Calgary Flames have done. Because the Flames went from, when I did my original season preview for them, I said that they were going to be probably number 5 or 6 team, or maybe even worse, in the Pacific Division because it's so weak. In any other division, they could be a bottom team with what they had, with having to replace them with Toffoli and Coleman on that top line with Lindholm. I was like, there's no way. But bringing in Huberdeau, Kadri, and Mackenzie Weegar, I mean, that's incredible. That is incredible that they were able to bounce back. Now, are they as good as they were last year? I would say probably not. I mean, you lose 200 points players in one team, and you replace him with a guy that got equal to Johnny Gaudreau and a lot less in Kadri to Tkachuk. Now, they did improve the defense, which is one thing I think they needed, was a defensive boost. But, so overall, maybe they might kind of be evened out, but at the same time, I feel like they even out because the offense might have got a little down, but defense got up. So I feel like it kind of evened them out to where they kind of were last year. Are they going to be as good as they were last year? I would say probably not. I don't see it happening because Huberdeau having to get along with trying to play with a new team, and especially since playing on that new team, he needs to get adjusted to it. Kadri, I don't think is an 87 points player. I think you probably get to maybe, on this team, I could say he's a 50 points player, but that is not good enough. Weegar's great, but he was also on one of the best teams in the league last season, which I know the Flames were as well, but you get what I'm saying. So I don't think the Flames are going to be as good as they were last year, but it is interesting to see what they're going to do with their lineup this season. I don't know where they're going to go. I think they make it into a playoff spot. I would say number 2 or 3. I think that's a good spot for them. The Avalanche, of course, winning the Stanley Cup last year. That's a big question. Can they do it again? I personally think their decisions to keep around Arturi Lehkonen and also Valeri Nichushkin. I like Josh Manson. I'm fine with them signing him long term. But those two guys having just kind of, not incredible for one seasons. I understand the hype for Kadri to get a big contract because 87 points is no joke, but it was only 1 year. Valeri Nichushkin has shown that he's kind of not very good on other teams. Sure, he had an amazing season with the very best team in the league in Colorado, And Lehkonen, I feel like he might be paid kind of fairly. Maybe a little bit too much, but kind of fairly. But Nichushkin, to me, is going to be overpaid. And the Avalanche, to me, is a big question because to me, I feel like their top to bottom is kind of like there's a lot of cracks in there for me. Nichushkin, building your team on like Helm and Cogliano. I just feel like there's a lot of question marks where it could be like, well, everything could just go tumbling down. I wouldn't be surprised if they are not bad. I don't see this team being bad, but kind of ending up not number one. They could end up being like a number 2 or 3 in that division. I wouldn't be surprised. At the same time, I also wouldn't be surprised if they set a new record for season winnings. So the Avalanche are interesting. They could either be, I feel, 3 or 2, or they could be the top number 1 team ever. So the Avalanche, can they win the Stanley Cup again? I don't think so. But once again, this is the type of team I could see losing in the first round or winning it all. That's just how I've always seen the Avalanche, is that they always were going to lose in that second round, or they were going to, if they got past it, they were going to win the Stanley Cup, or they were going to lose early. That's how I always saw it happening. If they go into the third or fourth round, no way. First and second is where they're in trouble. That's how I've always seen the Avalanche. So, but a team that can win the Stanley Cup maybe next year is the Florida Panthers. Of course, they got swept by the Lightning this season in the playoffs, so I don't know. The Panthers are an interesting team. I mean, they had the President's Trophy thing. Maybe the Lightning is going to... What happened to the Lightning after winning the President's Trophy, after having such a strong year and clearly being the most dominant team in the league, then it was getting swept? I think maybe that could be the Panthers' way of being hit in the head. Also, by bringing in Paul Maurice to be their coach, this might be the best team in the league ever next year. The Florida Panthers bringing in Tkachuk. Tkachuk's one of those guys that is going... He is just a fighter. That's kind of how I would describe like the Tkachuks, both of them really. Their type of playing is that they're just relentless. But I don't really... You can kind of tell what type of player they are. I don't know what the right word I would describe them as. I don't want to say like tenacious or something, but that just seems like the kind of right word I'm looking for, is that they, no matter what, the Tkachuks are kind of those two type of players that are going to go in there head first to win something. And Matthew Tkachuk on the Panthers might be what they needed. The Tkachuk and Maurice might be what they needed for this team to get over the hurdle of the Lightning next playoffs. But we'll have to see. The Rangers. Now, the Rangers are questionable to me because there's some things that are interesting. So one is, can Lafreniere and Capo Caco go out there and become those top players that they're supposed to become? I mean, they are on one of the best teams in the league. They should be able to do it if they can. If there was ever a team for a young prospect to grow on, it would be this one. You know, and it makes me wonder what would happen if instead they had brought in like Tim Stützle or something. What if they drafted Stützle and see how he did on this team? That just makes me think sometimes. What if they picked up Byfield? You don't think Byfield would have done better on this team than Lafreniere? I feel like Lafreniere kind of just fills in the same kind of spot as like a Panarin and as a Benajad and a Kreider. Like, I feel like his spot is taken over by guys already succeeding. I think a guy like Byfield or Stützle would have been better to make the team more diverse in the type of players that they have. So that's just an interesting question for me. Also, can Shesterkin keep being the supposed best goalie in the world, which I'm going to talk about one day? Because, I mean, he's up there, but I don't think he's the best. But he's up there. Can he continue that, or was that just one good season last year? I think he'll keep it up. I think even with this team in front of him as well, all these young guys on this team have no excuse not to be good. Adam Fox and Shesterkin are showing off. Can Capo Caco and Lafreniere come to the fight? Now Tampa Bay, after 1 year tying the record for the best season in the NHL, then getting swept, then going to win the Stanley Cup, then winning the Stanley Cup again, then going to the Stanley Cup Finals, only lose against one of the best teams in the history of ever. Can they just can they keep going? That it would be insane if they can. Especially, I mean, imagine if Kucherov plays an entire season. He got 69 points in 48 games. What could this guy do if he plays an entire season again? I mean, that'd be incredible. So I would love to see what this team's gonna do. I mean, they re-signed Sergachev, Sorelli, Colton. Was it Colton? I think it was Colton. And they've keeping all these guys around. Chernak, that was it, not Colton. Did I say? Oh, whatever. So Nick Paul as well. The Lightning, can they continue pushing and being the best team in the league probably ever? I mean, hands down, I don't think you can dispute it. Maybe not total, like, skill-wise. You can say, like, the Avalanche are better, sure. But overall, as a team, the Lightning is the best team in the history. This Lightning squad of this last 5 years is the best team ever. There's no way you can really dispute it. Just how much success they've had. I know they didn't win, like, 4 Stanley Cups in a row like the Islanders. But with how good the competition is nowadays, and in the salary cap era, and sure, they're cheated, I think this team is hands down the best. And for me, last, the Montreal Canadiens. This team's going to be fun to see. They've got Caulfield, Suzuki, and now they've got Slafkovsky. They've got so many young guys on this team, and Carey Price is reportedly going to retire or something, which I'm not entirely sure about how the cap works with that, because then that's for $10 million if he retires, or is that how it works? I'm not entirely sure. It'll be interesting to see what this team can do, because they do have a somewhat decent team, and with these young guys coming up, it'll be fun to see what this Canadian squad can do. Some honorable mentions that I couldn't really fit on the board were the Red Wings. I can't wait to see what they can do. I mean, I've always been a Red Wings fan. I don't have the jersey up. So, I've always loved them. I would love to see them do good again. I think they're going to be not super power good, but I would say decent enough. Also the Senators, the Penguins as well, see like if that they're holding things together, and also the Blackhawks to see how absolutely terrible they're gonna do. But that's really all I have to talk about for this video. Leave down below what you have to think about what I've said today. What other teams are you questioning? Who else are you interested in seeing how they're gonna do? Who did I forget on this board? And I guess until next time, please pick up your free subscription down below by hitting that red subscribe button. If you like this video, leave a like, not a dislike, and go down below. Tell me all that stuff that I already said. And until next time, I have been the nicely and dapperly dressed Owen, your host. Too sweet. Ta-ta for now.